Good afternoon, everyone. I wanted to give you a little bit of an overview of the workflow and process redesign assignments um, that you have this unit. So let's dig in here. So I'm obviously in Brightspace right now, Unit 5. This assignment has a couple components to it. Obviously, there's an assignment, there's a discussion, and then at the end, we have a teamwork self-assessment. This is a self-assessment, not you evaluating your teammates. So it's more an assessment of your work and your contributions to your group work. So let's dive in. I'll touch on these other the discussion in a little bit here. So also excuse the ponytail. It's so hot here in Minnesota right now. It's one of those days where I just ask for you to excuse my casualness here. It's just so darn hot. So and I'm not used to that. So okay, so this is, like I said, it's a partner assignment. It's worth 60 points. And I'm not going to read this introduction to you all. Please take some time and read that, okay? The scenario. I also don't really want to read all of this to you, but basically I'll summarize it here. So please, please read it in more depth, but you've been charged with um, um, implementing a more formal telehealth program at your organization, and you have now asked a group of individuals to diagram the current process for carrying out patient registration. And so they did that. This is that diagram. And might I say that this is a great example of what a swim lane diagram looks like, okay? So this would be a great example for you to kind of base yours off of, okay? So you asked them to do that. They did that. And so once you receive that diagram, you now need to determine the best workflow for registering telehealth visits within the EHR and determine the considerations that may need to be accounted for in this process, which is registering for a telehealth visit. So one of the important considerations you need to make is the fact that the patient must be registered in the EHR's patient portal in order to have a telehealth visit. So in this case, the telehealth visit, just as a little FYI, right? The telehealth visit is going to be launched from the EHR through that patient portal, okay? So you need to take that into consideration as you come up with a new patient registration workflow for telehealth visits, okay? All right, so this is where the research comes in on your end and where you need to get prepared for this assignment, okay? So first, you guys need to read Chapter 5, which is on workflows, and then Chapter 15, which is on ambulatory care or a clinic, okay? So read those two chapters. Then I want you to research telehealth visits, why some organizations launch their visits through their EHR, and registration for telehealth visits to fully understand the application and how it's used in ambulatory care. So now that we're post-COVID, there should be a lot, I know there is a lot of information out there about this. So you shouldn't have any problem finding information on these topics, okay? All right. Then schedule a Zoom meeting with your group members. Here's another link to the same instructions that I provided in Brightspace, okay? And then at your first meeting, I want you to designate a group leader to serve as facilitator for the meeting, designate a secretary to record meeting minutes, and identify group member roles and responsibilities. So who's going to do what? I just want to say one thing though before moving on is that I know that we have somebody, in our class from the Middle East. We have, it's obviously a major time zone difference. It may be completely impossible for you to meet over Zoom just because of that time zone difference. And so in that case, and there might be other situations here too, where you have an East Coast, West Coast, kind of situation. So if it's just really impossible for you to host or hold a Zoom meeting, I understand that, but come up with a way to figure out who's going to do what, and that you guys have this like really great communication method that you can use. And so um, I'll talk a little bit more about meeting minutes here right now. So your assignment deliverables for this assignment that you're going to submit to this workflow and process mapping assignment section include your meeting minutes, a use case scenario, and then a proposed telehealth patient registration swim lane workflow diagram. Okay. So let's talk meeting minutes first of all here. So your meeting minutes, they should identify the date and time of your meeting and the group members that attended. However, like I said, if meeting via Zoom is just completely impossible, please describe in your meeting minutes how you communicated and how you came together as a team to complete this assignment, okay? So the method or technology used to mean if Zoom is impossible, if you don't like Zoom for whatever reason, having a phone call is just fine as well. But include the group members' names and each member's role and responsibility within the group. So those that attended, and then the outcome from each meeting. So the tasks to be completed, and then any other information that you want to share to summarize your discussion. Okay. All right, so that's the first deliverable. The second deliverable is a use case scenario deliverable. I am also not going to go into a ton of depth here because I really feel that these videos and this information that I have linked here. So this Carnegie Mellon website is awesome. The video is great. It's like a tutorial. And like I said, they do a much better job describing this than I do. And so please, please, please go through each of these, okay? And to understand this part. But I have a sample use case diagram here that depicts the interaction between a physician and a pharmacist regarding an alert through a CPOE system for a drug-drug interaction, okay? So this is a sample use case that I want you to. The one thing that I will say about this is do not think too much about this, okay? And this is just a patient registration system, right? Okay. So let me back up a sec. So you're identifying a scenario or a use case where the patient registration is currently used or where the patient registration system could be used for telehealth patient registration. And this is just one simple interaction, okay? One like moment in time, one little piece of the registration process, okay? So do not think about this too much. Students make it harder than it is, okay? High level means basic. Okay, high level does not mean detail, a minute, detailed interaction between two individuals. Okay, this is high level, and this is just this can be the basic patient registration interaction. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about this, and we're going to move on. So, so that's the second deliverable. The third deliverable is that creating the actual workflow process, okay, for that telehealth patient registration workflow. Okay, so I'll just read this just to kind of set the stage here for this section. So in the as-is workflow diagrams above, you are able to see the current patient registration process at the primary care clinic. What would the patient registration process look like for telehealth visits? That's the question, right? So you're charged with drawing a redesigned workflow for the use of patient registration software for telehealth visits in the form of a swim lane process map, okay? You're going to use a Lucidchart for creating and developing this swim lane diagram, okay? Lucidchart is very easy to use, okay? It's pretty intuitive, all right? And so I think you'll get the hang of it pretty quickly, okay? You can get through it. I have a Lucidchart account sign up instructions right here, but you will use your CSS login information to get in there, okay? So you're going to analyze that as is swim lane diagram above. So within your swim lane diagram, the group must exhibit analysis of the original registration process and provide evidence of research surrounding the updated telehealth registration process. So I really want to know and understand and see that you have, how you've analyzed that initial diagram to create this new one. Okay, I want to see evidence of that, but I also want to see evidence of your research into telehealth, okay, and how that registration process takes place. So like I said, second bullet here, use Lucidchart to develop it. So in order to develop your swim lane diagram, your group must understand what a swim lane diagram looks like, right? And what it is, and you must identify the primary stakeholders involved in the patient registration process. So here is a place where you can find a sample swim lane diagram. Margaret A's textbook is also a great resource for developing your swim lane diagram, pages 139 to 146. I also think that there's a section in the Oaks and Waters textbook on workflow diagrams. Don't quote me, but I think there might be a sample there as well of a swim lane. And so once you've completed the steps above, your group is ready to begin drawing your proposed redesigned patient registration process for telehealth visits. So please note that downtime in the registration system does not have to be documented on the workflow, okay? I want you to use appropriate UML tools and workflow symbols to develop your swim lane diagram. Your diagram should demonstrate proper use of symbols for start and stop, actions and decisions. Descriptions in the symbols should be clear, concise, and refer directly to the registration actions or decisions. Okay? All right, and then the swim lane diagram will be the center of the Unit 5 discussion forum. So when your group has completed the swim lane diagram, you need to export it as a PDF and save it. And then one group member should attach the swim lane diagram in a new discussion post thread and identify all group member names within the post. This is your initial discussion board post, and it is due on Wednesday, July 27th. So you have about a week and a half to get this swim lane diagram developed, okay? Then as individuals, you need to reply to one group post. So this is very much like the SMART diagram, or sorry, SMART goal assignment discussion that we had earlier, okay? So each group member should then respond to a different initial group post by Sunday, July 31st, okay? Also, your group should decide how you will handle questions other students have about your diagram, okay? So if there's two of you in your group, you guys need to figure out who's going to answer the questions that are posed. This is how the discussion happens, right? We ask questions and we answer them. So let's keep this discussion flowing and talk as a group about how you're going to answer those questions. You know, is it, hey, I'll take any questions that pop up Monday and Tuesday, and I'll take any questions that pop up Wednesday, Thursday, or however you guys handle that, okay? But you guys need to come up with a way to address those, okay? Okay, so some logistics here. So both the use case and the swim lane diagram should be exported from Lucidchart as PDF files and saved. And so when you're ready to post the swim lane diagram to the discussion board, one group member should do so as a PDF attachment. Okay, I don't want you both posting the same swim lane diagram. Okay. And then when you are ready to submit all of the assignment deliverables in Brightspace, so when you're ready to submit everything here, so your meeting minutes and your use case and your swim lane diagram, when you're ready to do that, again, just one group member should upload the 2 PDF documents and the word process meeting minutes, okay? I know who's in your group, so you're going to get the same grade unless one of you just does not participate at all, okay? Those things happen, and please email me if that happens in your group. But otherwise, you both get the same grade, okay? Lastly, provide a reference list with all the references you've utilized for this assignment. It's important that each group member keep track of the resources they use. Okay, so depending on what your like to-dos are, I want you to keep track of your references. Then help each other with APA. Some of you are struggling, some of you are not. Some of you have a really great handle on APA. So help each other out with this, okay? Help each other look through the references. I always feel so bad when groups turn in these reference lists and half of the references look excellent and half of them don't. And I think, why couldn't that person, that team member that submitted and developed those great APA references help the person that just wasn't really getting it? right? Be a team, help each other learn through this. And I'll just be really proud if you do that. um, all right, so below here is the grading rubric. I have it here, but I can't remember if I have it built in Brightspace. This one is a little bit more complex. And so if it's not in Brightspace, I will typically just save this as a Word document and then use it during that and submit it as an attachment when I'm ready to give you my feedback. Okay, so go through this. I have meeting minutes, I have the use case diagram and what I'm looking for, right? And then the workflow process mapping swim lane diagram. Okay, so take a look at that. Make sure you know what I'm looking for. Okay. All right. I hope this gave you a nice overview. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can also use the within you guys haven't really been using it, which is just fine, but know that you do have this community forum here. I guess there's been a little bit of discussion in there, but you can use the community forum to get help and feedback from your classmates, and then I will check it periodically as well. Okay. All right. So that is it. I'm going to sign off here, and I hope you all have a great week and stay cool. All right.